if I said, Doug, you have, like, somebody approaches you and they're not even a Christian. So we're not talking like, hey, believe Genesis 1 account. We're not even talking about Bible at all. And they say, hey, listen, I've heard that you believe in intelligent design. I've heard that you're a scientist. I only have 60 seconds. Can you tell me in 60 seconds your best argument or why it is that you believe that this place that we live in is created? What would you say?
Hard to do in 60 seconds, but...
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sorry. It is hard.
Two possible ways I could do it in 60 seconds. One is I love to quote UC Berkeley psychology professor Alison Gopnik, who wrote in a Wall Street Journal article, and she's not a believer, I assume. She's definitely a Darwinist. She wrote, by elementary school age, children start to invoke an ultimate godlike designer to explain the complexity of the world around them, even children brought up as atheists. I love that quote because it's saying, and she thought this is bad. So even atheist kids, when they go in the backyard and see a dragonfly, they go, this is cool. Yeah. This was made by a godlike designer. And mom and dad don't even talk about this. They don't tell me about God. I thought, how cool is that all humans see this? So one thing you can do in less than 60 seconds is say, isn't that curious that everyone sees something? And if you if you become well educated in a secular way, you're trying to educate away something that was intuitive to you at age 4. You just saw this. That's one thing you can say in 60 seconds. Okay. The other very short argument, relatively short argument you can make is it's quite easy to prove that a human being cannot be merely a physical thing. Okay? We have physical bodies, but our mind, soul, spirit cannot be reduced to physical. And the way you go about proving this, and I give my students this proof, is by showing that if you suppose that we are just physical, you end up contradicting your own interpretation of what you're doing when you're thinking. Because what we think we're doing when we're thinking is working with thoughts, right? We think we're framing thoughts, modifying them, putting thoughts together, comparing them. Well, can a thought be a physical thing? Can a thought be made of carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, photons, whatever you want, protons, neutrons? If you try to reduce thought to the physical stuff, it becomes absolute nonsense, okay? So what that means is a physicalist view of humanity is incoherent because it contradicts your own understanding of what you're doing when you're thinking. And if someone contradicts their own understanding of what they're doing when they're thinking, they're saying, we're crazy. But if you're crazy, science is crazy, everything's crazy. Everything gets thrown out if you're crazy. The only interpretation of humanity that has us not be crazy is one that recognizes we have an immaterial part to us that is crucial to us. Mind, soul, spirit, there's different components to it. You can describe it in different ways, but we have to have this immaterial part that is doing a handshake with our material body in order for us to act as humans. And once you realize that, and it can be as simple as saying, what are we doing when we think if not working with thoughts? Most people say, okay, I buy that. Thinking is working with thoughts. Tell me how thoughts can be physical. And once you realize that thoughts can't be physical, then you're saying we're working with things that aren't physical. And that means we must have a component that's not physical. And that means no physical process can have produced us.
That's right. That's what it proves. It proves that Darwinianism cannot explain.
Because that is a purely physical process.